Hey, welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I want to talk to you about why your kids don't share. So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves. Hey, welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to talk about why your kids do not share. And I don't know why this just came into my mind, but a couple years ago, and maybe it's because all of you know that I have a 7-year-old, I have a 1-year-old. It's at a point where my 1-year-old and my 7-year-old, right, he wants to play with his brother's older toys, but the brother wants to play with some of his younger toys as he's rediscovering some of the things that he doesn't really remember. Like, oh, this toy is cool. I'm like, it used to be yours. But what comes to mind is I was on a playground a number of years ago, probably when the older one was about 4. He's playing around, he's doing things, and on this particular playground, there is the 5 and older playground, but then there's the 5 and under playground where the super small slides and things of that nature. And it's shaped as a choo-choo train, so the kids kind of like, they go up on a choo-choo and they're playing with these things. And so my 4-year-old at the time wants to go over, and he just wants to go. And there's maybe a 2-year-old girl there, and she says, "This is mine." And the mother's slightly embarrassed, and she goes, "Oh, she's an only child." I said, "Oh, okay." And in my mind, right, I don't know jack about parenting, but I know that there's these stereotypes of an only child, a middle child, an older child. The first child's always your best. The second child's a little crazy. And the third child is the spoiled little brat because it gets all the attention or something to that effect. So as she said that, just something stirred in me. I was like, man, I don't buy into that, because I have an only child at the time, and he will share. Why? Because I've taught him how to share. See, we have to give the kids the tools to be able to share. So, for instance, I have my 1-year-old now. Since he's, I don't know, he's been walking since he's 9 months. And so that's about when he could just come up to me whenever he wanted and eat whatever was on my plate. So I am one who eats on the go pretty often, or I'll snack throughout the day. And been eating really clean for the last probably about 6 months now. So anything that's on my plate is good enough for him. I'm not eating any fried foods. I'm eating a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, a lot of dishes that are just toddler or infant compliant. So he would come up to me, and maybe I'm eating some yogurt with some fruit, maybe a little bit of oats in there, and I would just feed it to him. So anything that's on daddy's plate is good enough for him. I'm going to share with you. It's interesting now that he has food and he has access to things, or we're giving him a snack or a cookie. If I pick him up when he has food in his hand, he often wants to give me some of it. And who am I to deny a gift from a child? I'm not. I don't say, "Oh, no, that's yours," because that implies that's your food and I have my food. But if he's willing to share, I always say, "Thank you. This is delicious." And maybe this is what's reminding me of this sharing title. Why don't your kids share? The question is, do you share with your child, or do you say, "No, this is mommy or daddy's dish. You're not going to like this"? I always, if my kids want to try something, I let them try. I always tell them when they're about to try something, if they don't like it, they don't have to eat it. because I understand that children's palates are different than adults' palates. I can't give a kid a lobster and expect him to like it. I can't give a kid a spinach all the time and expect him to like it, or broccoli. But I really don't want him to despise it so that he doesn't try it as an adult. Does that make sense? When his palate's ready and he learns to enjoy something, I want him to say, oh, I actually like this. I don't want him I have boys, so your kids, you don't want him or her to have just a negative connotation surrounding a particular food or anything. So I allow them to try it. Let's get back to this young lady, or this 2-year-old on the playground. So she had just told me that her little playground was hers. So guess what had happened? She came up to the big boy playground, and I'm the type of dad that goes down all the slides. I am running around with the kids playing tag. I'm playing hide and go seek with the kids. See, I don't know jack about parenting, but I know something about just people in general. People like people who have good energy, right? So these kids, if I'm playing with them, they're like, well, he's just a big kid. Let's play. So I'm up on top of the slide, and that little girl happens to be on the slide. And she looks at me, and I said, this is mine. This is my playground. And she like looks, and she has this stunned look on her face. For those of you who are not watching on YouTube, her eyes get big like an owl's eyes, and she looks at me, and I, with a big smile on her face, as we're sitting side by side on slides that go down, in racing slides, if you would. I go, but I'm willing to share it with you because you're my friend. Can I share my playground with you? And she looks with me with a big smile, and she says, yes. I said, great. Do you want to race me down the slide? And she said, yes. And she had all this great energy around it. And she was like, I want to share with you because you share with me. So we go down the slide. I give her a big high five. And I was like, that was awesome. Was that fun? She's like, yes. I go, do you want to race again? She said, no. To my disappointment, right? But she was okay. Now let's fast forward about 10 minutes. She's back over on her little slide all by herself. And her mom's over there. And her mom witnessed this. And I said, Mom, so she's an only child. She says, yeah. I said, she don't like to share. She said, no. I said, Mom, watch this. I said, can you share your playground with me? And with the big, huge, beautiful owl eyes that she had, she said, yes. Because I shared with her. See, these are learnable skills. But if a child hears a parent or a sibling or just other people saying, no, those are not your these are your toys, these are my toys, you can't play with them, guess what happens? They start hearing, well, you can't play with mine. These are mine. This is mine. They learn the word mine from the parent. And then here's the part in this particular instance that I find fascinating. Then the parent uses the excuse, I don't want to teach my kid how to share. I don't want to put any energy into that. I'm just going to say, well, they're an only child, and only children just don't share. They don't have to share. You're right. They don't have to share with other siblings, but they should have to share with their parents. They should have to share with their cousins if they bump into their cousins. They should have to share if they're at daycare with other kids. When they get old enough to say the word mine or no, they should also learn the words yes and share. So it's whatever they're taught is their behavior. Not because they're an only child and it defaults to them learning the word mine and selfishness. Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.